to do this live as I am heading back from Ottawa. I was at the Freedom Rally, Freedom Convoy. It was absolutely incredible and inspiring and invigorating and just so helpful on a soul level to see so many Canadians with the Canadian spirit, to see faces, to see smiles, to have hugs, to have high fives, to just be normal for a second was so good. I don't think that people really realize how spiritually, mentally, and emotionally exhausting and challenging it is to not see faces, to not see people's faces, to not see smiles. I heard so many stories, confirming everything that we already know. I met a mortician that, as a doctor and his family come back, he said, we know exactly what's going on. There were no deaths, and now with, this shot that it's a mass increase, young people, all these different types of things. I talked to a parent. There were a lot of parents there, a lot of families, it's very peaceful. There are people organizing the trash, picking up the trash. So if you guys can share this, that would be great, because I'd love to have your questions. I can peek over here and there, but obviously need to pay attention to what I'm doing, but I can glance over like that. Real quick from time to time, going nice and slow. Have a new respect for everybody who drives the truck. There was a guy there who had his kids, and he was there because of his kids. And he said the school's making them wear a mask all day, and that if they take off their mask or they talk, they're not supposed to look at them. They're supposed to look down and away. This is happening in Canadian schools right now. And this isn't talking about all the, that guy had a bit of a swerve. This isn't even talking about all the other crazy stuff that they have in there with, the sex ed and the gender nonsense and all that kind of stuff. So, it just confirmed everything, but it was so invigorating to see everybody. And it was nice to see that this has sparked a worldwide movement. So I can only speak on what I observed and what I experienced, and the hundreds of thousands of people there. The streets were lined with trucks, and everybody was in a good mood. Everybody was happy. Everybody was smiling. People were giving out free food and drinks. There's an old lady. She was probably like 80 years old, and she was giving out coffee, free coffee, all day. She worked probably for 12 hours. This beautiful old lady with her team, and then she had some young people there too. And she had finally, I was like, I wonder if that old lady's still there. And come back, and then the young man was still working there all day. He was there all day, just giving out free stuff, only asking for donations if people wanted to. And so it was just beautiful support. There was dance parties. And, my friend and I that I got to go with, we kind of joked as like the first war, you had to go overseas, you had to leave your families. World War III is a psychological war, and this is written in books, like Klaus Schwab's books and NASA Weapons Future, what's that document? NASA Weapons for Future Wars or something like that. And a lot of these people talk about how the new war is going to be all psychological, and you can see that. And so this put Canada on the map for like a nuke of like, okay, this has to stop. This is a good strategy because it is peaceful. So their weapon is the media. The good news is all the propaganda, and if they do a false flag, they got to figure out what they're going to do now, because they don't care about protesting. You can protest all you want, stand out, and it was freezing cold. It was so cold out there, right? But it was warm with the people, it warmed up, but it was crazy cold. People had to go out of their way, spend their own money. People are risking their trucks, their livelihood, everything, because it's the right thing to do. People who know, who have ears to hear and eyes to see, know exactly what's going on. There is no confusion. There is no debate, because the truth is the truth. And we all know that. So, back in the day, you protest, they're like, fine, do that. But having the trucks there, shutting down the city, the noise, the energy, it changes the whole game. You're not just standing there. They could disperse the crowds easily, so they brought in horses. I got to meet some of the freedom fighters there, and some of the Canadians that have been out there. So I have a better idea on who might be controlled up, and I don't think any of them are. As far as what I can see, they seem like good old genuine Canadian boys fighting for freedom, and in the game, with skin in the game. And so with the trucks, they're bringing in the the horses now that are there for crowd disbursement and things like that. Well, how are you going to move the truck? You got to get all the trucks to move, and there are so many. There are tens of thousands of trucks. So you've got the transport, but then we got the boys coming with their big old trucks. I was just thinking to myself, I was like, how do so many people have so many expensive trucks? There's just like $100,000 trucks everywhere, like the fully loaded diesels. I want to go out west, and everybody out there has a truck. So I was like, yeah, I want to get a nice truck. So I start pricing them out. I was like, holy sweet crap, these things are so expensive. But big boys with like their big trucks with the Canadian flags. Everybody with the Canadian flag. Like a lot of us had this, like, we haven't been proud to be Canadian. We've had to endure 2 years of gaslighting, of losing friends, of losing family, of all of this challenge of seeing people get harmed, of being ridiculed and all this kind of stuff, in the face of overwhelming evidence to what we're trying to share and help people with. And just to see your like-minded Canadians and men, there are the mythical Canadian men out there, which is great to see. And, all you need to do to be a man in this war is to research the truth. And yeah, it's a different kind of bravery. And I guess they learned how to do that. We can be men and be brave and go to war and risk our bodies, but it seems like men today, they can't handle the ridicule or the gaslighting or to stand apart from the crowd, from the mainstream, from what the narrative is, like to be ostracized from the community, because then as soon as you think anything that's not narrative, they go, oh, well, you're a flat earth, Trump supporting racist. That's all they have. So just make peace with that. All they have is gaslighting. All they have is that. You know what I mean? And it's ridiculous. It's so absurd, their defense. That's all it is. So to be a man today, you need to have the stones to research the truth, to have integrity, to have an open conversation, and to share the truth and to speak the truth. That's it. It's not that hard. So just to see other men out there and so many families, so many kids. So, this is what everyone's doing it for, and everybody, the most passionate, we're doing this for the kids. We're doing this for the kids because already the damage is done. Even if it stopped right now, the damage to what's happened to our children is so great that it's going to take a lot of processing, and it's a lot easier to build strong children into strong men and women than it is to try to heal them from a great trauma. So that's what's happening. So we need to protect these kids. And I've said this on lives before. The government isn't doing this to you. Your school isn't doing this to you. You're doing it to yourself. So do not send your kids to school with a mask. You can get an exemption. You have to fight for your kids. You might have to go through a few Karens to get there. But, I know a lot of people who don't mask their kids. I know you got to get your kids out of public school. Public school it's better, in my opinion, to have no education, none, than to go through the public school indoctrination system at this time. That's my personal opinion. But, set your intention, set your will, really to find that's how you do it, to find a solution. It might not be as great a task as you think to figure out an alternative education solution for your children. But school, especially in Canada and around the world, is just a indoctrination system, and it's getting the kids, and it's going to mess them up badly, and it's going to be really, really hard to repair them. So even have kids that don't have that indoctrination, they're going to be a lot better off than the ones that do. And I'm seeing that in my generation. Like my generation of friends, we used to play sports and roughhouse and go through the scenarios of being tough and who's manlier and all this kind of stuff. That's kind of all gone. They're not there, and they're not even willing to fight for their kids. They're actually the ones masking up their kids. They're masking up their own friggin' children. What is wrong with you? So what up, Germany? Frig yeah. So the beautiful thing about this demonstration, this convoy, protests don't do anything because they can just disperse you. Trucks frig up so much of their strategy. They're thinking right now, so they're probably gonna have to figure out some sort of false flag operation. Even if they brought in tow trucks, they said, okay, military's in, we got tow. It would take so long to go one by one by one, and how they've got themselves set in there. You know what I mean? And they're letting traffic through. I was at a hotel, traffic coming in and out. These guys know exactly what they're doing. They're brilliant, and they're putting it all on the line for us. So a couple smart things is there in Ottawa, the nation's capital. So all the people standing up for freedom in Toronto, in Quebec, can come to Ottawa now to support those. We have a central point. It's our nation's capital. So we shut that. That's like the mother lode. You know what I mean? It's all dispersed. And that's where it is. They came all across from Canada, from the West. They did the easy work. They drove for days and days to be here. So yeah, get every single person out. Now's the time. Keep going to support them. Unfortunately, I had to go home. I might go back, soon, because I will see how things play out. But there's so much misinformation and nonsense. So you need to follow people who are actually there, who are telling the truth. So check that out. Police on Guard for Thee, I believe, is still there. Chris Vandenbos is a great resource, and a lot of other freedom fighters. So the truth is definitely out there, and you need to follow the people who are actually there. You know what I mean? So support them. So if you see a rally anywhere, this is the time to do it, because they can't just disperse all the crowds, and you actually have a card in the game. It's like, oh great, you're protesting, so what? Like, we don't care. We're just going to do what we want anyway, so it doesn't matter. But now you shut down their city, and they're like, whoa, like this is an issue. And so speak the truth, you know what I mean? Like, you got to support these guys in your own way, whether it's posting something, sharing something, speaking the truth, taking your mask off. Taking your mask off is not that hard. Try somewhere small. Go into a little tiny convenience store, right? The law says probably everywhere is the same thing. Masks are mandatory, required, all those things that you see, right? I just ignore all of them. And then I walk in. And if they ask me anything, I'd say I'm exempt. That's it. You know what I mean? Or say no contract, no thank you. Say no thank you, right? Worst case scenario is they'll ask you to leave, and that hasn't happened to me. In Ottawa, right, all the hotels, they didn't even ask because no one was wearing them. The only issue we had is going to the beer store. So a lot of people were drinking beer and partying. It was a party. It had a festival vibe. And there was a couple, I took a picture of these couple young people, wearing it, like it looked like contrived. Anyone wearing a mask, right? There's one guy, an agitator, I saw posted, and it's so obvious. You're like, get out of here. They always cover their face. Everyone else is smiling and cheering and slapping high fives. It's the Canadian way. It's just like, get out of here. If there was any problem, the Canadian boys have sorted out. And this is the thing, there were men there, so they would even try. They're just men, like Canadian men that like, I know how to fight. I'm pretty darn strong. I train a lot. I saw some boys there, and I was like, oh man, that'd be on my side, thankfully. So I was like, man, if I had to go toe to toe with that guy, he'd probably just whoop me. He just built like a friggin' tree trunk oak. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. There's the Canadian boys. So, so just invigorating to see your team, right? Because what's the opposing team? It's a bunch of weak soy boy Karens, you know what I mean? That have no integrity, no standing, won't defend their kids, won't defend their family, won't even have a conversation with people. And that's how we know we're on the side of truth, because we're open to the conversation. If you have a better information, more truth, a better understanding, then great. Well, we got to honor the truth. And the truth is that this has gone on long enough that people are being harmed, and that this isn't going to stop. So until we stop it, and that's all that's required, is like people just to stop it. That's it. So it's a Saskatchewan. They said they're going to lift the mandates. Oh, yay, that's good. No, it's not good, because then they got the digital ID right around the corner. That's phase 2 of this. It has to all stop. So the truckers and everyone protesting needs to know that the digital ID needs to be a part of this. This whole thing needs to stop. The digital ID is not a solution. It is a step towards full authoritarianism, and this is what we're fighting for, is freedom. Like one of the kids was asking, like, what does that mean? It's like, it's like, so they can track everything. It's like, yes, exactly. So we need to get back to freedom. This isn't going to be solved through the government. The only way that this is going to be solved is through mask non-compliance. Government is a fiction. It doesn't exist. That's what I learned in law school. I was like, wait, okay, the government is a fiction. It doesn't exist. It's a corporation, right? Which then has people in it, and they try to make you comply to these different rules. And so understanding the basics of law is so important. If you guys haven't checked out the Choose Freedom Law Summit with myself and Beth Martins, highly recommend checking that out. Getting in some of the law groups. There's some Canadian groups, there's American groups, there's UK, and it's just understanding freedom and all these contracts or these obligations you may or may not have. Trudeau, yeah, it's just so ridiculous. So the whole, obviously these people don't have our best intentions at heart. The whole political system not to be trusted. Unfortunately, Clifford Mahooty recently passed, but he worked for the government, and he said, I just want to understand it. He goes, these were the worst people you could ever imagine that work in government. So the solution isn't going to be government. And even if you had a good person in government, chances of them getting elected are not good. So maybe we can work their systems a little bit, but a more simpler a way to go about it is to hold your local municipality, your mayors accountable, show up en masse, bring the vehicles. The horns are great, it keeps the energy going. So everybody get in the car, show up at your mayor's house peacefully, and just party. That's it. Just party in front of their house, just have the best time, and so this is how this all stops. And and again, it's not going to be solved from the government. The government's never going to save you. We're going to need to do this from the ground up. We saw a lot of nurses there that had quit because they have integrity. A lot of police that were there that quit or were in, the beast. And some people have been saying, they've been fighting Ottawa for years because of these, it all comes top down, right? So, same with what the heck is it? Medicine and the hospitals. They're not what you think they are. They're big pharma pushers, but they had to go through that education, and so that's what they believe. You know what I mean? So it takes like this unwinding of the indoctrination to then think freely. So this is huge because it really throws a wrench in their plan, and maybe just to descend on your capital, you have actually some like a play. It's like playing poker, and they know when you protest you don't have anything, but now you shut everything down and everyone's looking, and all they have is to try to gaslight everybody. And anything that comes out from all of this, it's only going to fool the already fooled. It's not going to fool people like you and I watching this and people who are looking for the truth. It's only going to fool the fooled. All the truth will come out, because even if you get fooled temporarily and you believe something, the truth will come out and you're like, oh shoot, like that makes more sense. That's actually what happened. So, don't worry about that. So, if you're in Canada, we appreciate all the gatherings, at the borders and all this stuff that's sparked up. Keep doing that. Use this, but the vehicles it just changes the game rather than being on foot. So get all those trucks, all those cars, everything together, and show up. And if you're in Ontario or even farther, these guys are going to need your support during the week, because the police massively increased. When I left on Sunday, evening, and there were way more police, and they're going to have to figure out their play, right? How are they going to respond to continue to gaslight and get these guys out of here, because they're not going anywhere. All the truckers said, we are not going until this is lifted. So they mean business, and they're not to be messed with. And so we need people in Canada to show up. So if we can, get all the people in Toronto that are organized and showing up, all the people in Quebec and Montreal organized and showing up en masse during the week, so that during the week, that's when the truckers are going to have to persevere, because they don't have the people. The people are protecting the truckers, and everyone's going and giving them high fives and saying thank you. Kids are there saying, thank you, and so, but during the week, that's when they're going to be vulnerable to whatever play the government has for them, right? And hopefully we don't see UN stormtroopers, but we did see a few Toronto stormtroopers, which, they're all dressed in black. They're not public servants. Most people believe the police are there to serve and protect. It's true, but they're there to serve and protect the government's interests. They're not there to serve and protect the people. They do what they're told. They're order followers. And that's the unfortunate thing that I've had to tell people that I know at police is like, I know you did it for a good reason, but you don't understand who your boss is. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you can do some good for a bit, and thank you for that. We do need good police, and there are good police. I spoke with one night, and when I did the video on how, I saw a few broken windows and F Trudeau, and it's all for media optics. So paid Antifa, they hire a bunch of kids, and then they have to do it in secret, because if any of us saw them, we would track them down. So they're having a tough time. But now with everybody dispersed, they can wait. They're just like little weasels, little cowards. So then the news will get to be look at all the destruction of Ottawa. Meanwhile, all the true Canadians and patriots is like the cleanest protest ever. All the garbage was organized. Nobody was littering. Everybody's waiting, whether they had a coffee, and if people weren't drinking beer, so they would wait and they put it in the, in the trash can. So it was like Canada Day. It was like an Independence Day for Canada. Saying, hey, this is a war, just like any of the other wars. But we did something, and we put it on the world map, because this is a worldwide plan. So any of the countries that are able to stand this are going to help everybody else. So, they're dismantling the United States right now, which is like a slow burn, which is unfortunate, but they're never going to fully conquer them. They're just going to kind of frig up all their system, but it has to crumble, because it's corrupt to the core. It's so corrupt to the core in the United States as far as their government goes, but because they have the Second Amendment, they're never going to be fully conquered. It's just going to change the way things are for a little bit. So, is that even bad? Like, get more community oriented, know where your food comes from, know if your neighbors would give you the shirt off your back, or they would stab you in the back. And that's who we're seeing now. At least we know who would stab us in the back, but everybody there would give the shirt off their back for you. And all those stereotypical things about Canadians being nice. And I was just kind of thinking about our anthem, the true north, strong and free, land of the free and home of the brave. Well, I haven't seen a lot of brave people in Canada, and it's definitely not free. So we need to change that anthem, or we need to live up to it. So I'm super proud to be Canadian today, and I was proud to be Canadian there. Be mindful of the news, and they're not, obviously, if you're watching the news, right, it's just to know what the opposite of the truth is, and to see the kind of that nonsense that they're putting out there. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I think I got everything out that I wanted to share about it. I think tactically people need to keep going every weekend. If we can get Toronto organizers and Montreal organizers and show up there en masse, and everybody keep coming back, and then make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This is one where you have to show up. I haven't done a protest yet. I went to one that Druthers was there, that was in my local town. But I know protesting doesn't do anything, so that's why I started to research the law, because they expect you to protest. They're like, go ahead, go ahead. But now with the truckers, it's a whole different game. So it's marking it on a world stage, and you're seeing, at the very least, people with smiles and spirit and energy, and it's just it's uplifting, so you can kind of endure the challenge. But we need everybody who's on the fence to show up. Now is the time to actually do something. So if you're in Canada or anywhere in the world where these rallies are going, this is when you show up to. This isn't a normal protest, and we're seeing it go far and wide. And they can't stop this. It's only fooling the fooled, and they keep trying to write it off. There are millions of people around the world doing this now. And so, just organize something. But again, there's something about the trucks and the vehicles that changes the game, rather than standing there. Pots and pans are good. I think Denmark did that. The Netherlands is good. The pots and pans is good. I don't know how the UK is very small, so you can shut things down pretty quick. The farmers are pissed, and they should be. Farmers have been getting messed with for 20 years. If you know anything about what's going on in Canada and the US, around the world, about the farmers, the government has been messing with the farmers forever, because they want to control the entire food supply and the crop supply. So we need to support our farmers, and I'd love to see more farmers show up. There were tractors. Good luck, even if they say, okay, we're gonna move them out. Good luck moving these massive John Deere tractors that they brought in. I don't even know how you tow something like that. It's going to be a whole day operation just to tow one of these things. So now's the time for people to get involved, to share these videos, to speak the truth, to be kind and compassionate to others, to stand in to be bold, to not be afraid, to post something, or because all you're going to do, all they have is just to attack you, and they're going to call you a racist and misogynist and all that kind of stuff. So that's their only weapon. So your weapon is truth, and you're planting a seed. This is waking up a lot of people, and the sheep people, they'll remain that way because they feel special and virtuous, and they're the good ones, and now they're the elites. Haha, I'm the elite. I can go to restaurants and you can't, because you don't have the morality that I do, and all I need to do to get this morality and this elite nature is to comply to the government. It's just to be an order follower, and I get to be special and elite. Not actually contribute anything or do anything meaningful to your community, but in fact insist in the destruction of humanity, the enslavement of humanity, the destruction of young minds and spirits, and to assist literally a satanic Luciferian depopulation agenda. So that doesn't sound virtuous to me. And being in Ottawa is funny because, in a major city, well, I guess it's in my town too, but so many people wearing masks in the open air, walking down the street. When I stopped to get a coffee on the one, I walked in and the kid asked me, he's like, "Do you have a mask?" I said, "No, I don't wear one." And he goes and he comes back and I noticed he had two masks. I was like, "Oh, do they make you wear two masks because I'm wearing one?" He's like, "No, I just do that." So we have this poor, holy crap, that guy is motoring. We got a race car going by. We got this poor teenage kid who is so afraid or it feels like he's doing his part to help other people that he's all day wearing a mask that has ethylene oxide in it and covering his face. And that's what kind of is the most disturbing is they're taking, the good parts of humanity, human nature, to want to help our fellow man, and they're weaponizing it against us. So that's kind of a bummer. So, that's why I try to remain compassionate to these people because, they probably do have good hearts. So, all right, I'm going to leave that. But, this is exciting. This is the first exciting thing that I've seen in a while during this battle, especially being in Canada and all the stuff that's going on. So support these guys, share as much as you can, figure out what these truckers need. Support with your dollars, give them, a few bucks financially because they're putting it all on their line. The livelihood, their trucks are worth like $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, right? They don't know what's going to happen. The gas, the food, but all this overwhelming support is like, oh, this is it. We are standing for this. This is the war. This is our battle. It's a weird battlefront, but this is the battlefront. Shut it down. Choke it out until it stops. And then we'll leave peacefully. We're peaceful now. And stop trying to make us take this forced medical intervention, which goes against morality, ethics, and all the friggin' actual laws we have, but somehow, through loopholes and nonsense, is being forced upon everybody. Or they take your livelihood. That's not a choice. That's coercion. So, that's not a free will choice. So we need to stand up now, or it's going to get worse. We're in mega freedom now. And if you're in a place that has freedom and you haven't experienced this yet, like the red states in the United States, you don't want to give this thing an inch. It's already gone way, way, way too far. Don't give this agenda an inch. If you're a parent, know what's going on in your schools because it's probably disgusting and you have no idea what it is. Figure out who your local council is and town mayor and hold them accountable. Get 10, 20 people. Learn how to write notices of liability. Speak at your thing and say, hey, no, and if you mandate this, we're giving you the letter. You're the one doing it because the government's just making a mandate was a suggestion. Then people are implementing it. And whoever's actually implementing it is liable. So you need to have 10, 20, 30 people show up, give them notices of liability. And that's why we need to do it en masse. And that's why you need to stand up for what's right so other people can find you and connect with you because people are just afraid to stand up. So that's where that courage is. But if you guys let this go farther, it's going to be like, this is going to be amazing. What we're experiencing right now is just like the best because it'll be so, so horrible. I'm fine with going straight up Mennonite, Amish, Heterite, whatever it is, being on a horse and buggy and living with nature before I, cooperate with this, Babylonian beast system. There's no chance. But it's very frail, There's so many holes in this plan. It's so frail and so audacious, and it has no spirit. These people they'll murder en masse, essentially do a genocide and not even have any compassion about it. They have no souls, literally. That's they've gotten to that place, and so they're going against the human spirit, which is really dumb. We don't know how the human spirit is going to respond, but there is going to be this force that happens, and I feel like this is one of these things that's happened. The human spirit has spoken, and it's definitely not going to be the end of it by any means. But it's finally a response from humanity. So let's let's respond. Let's keep responding. But now is the time for action. The action has to be taken. We were looking for a strategy. This is something that kind of came out. I was like, oh, okay, I see how that's effective. We're right on. So if you're in Canada, go to Ottawa right now. If you can. Antifa is just so ridiculous. Don't listen to the propaganda. It's actually, I was worried about the traffic. It's not bad. So go to Ottawa. Just remove all the excuses. Get 5 buddies. Go meet the truckers. Go thank them. Support by sharing the videos. Support by sharing their message. Right. All the message of everyone there is this is peaceful. This is a peaceful demonstration. But you can't be injecting our kids with this. You can't. There's a story there that Chris Vandenbosch shared about a 17-year-old kid who wanted to play hockey, who passed away because he wanted to play hockey and took it and then died. 17. How many, in history, when have young, healthy kids just died randomly for no reason? So this is serious. And by doing nothing, you don't have to do everything, but by staying silent and doing nothing and being obedient and wearing a mask and doing all those things because it's easier, that's kind of complying. That is kind of helping the B system. So I feel like, bravery is a little bit required in this, just to kind of speak the truth. But I get it. It's hard. I know a lot of people have horrible stories about losing family members, not going to weddings, all this kind of stuff. So it's challenging. I'm not saying it's not. Oh man, but it was a revitalization of my spirit to know that these people were out there, and just to see smiles and faces and get all that. So if you guys have any questions, go to my Telegram, t.me/Matt Belair. You'll find the community there. I think somebody let me know. I think you just go to that and then you push join, and then it goes to the community. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure you just join it, and then you can get in the conversation and ask questions, look for solutions. 2022 is going to be the year of responding to what's going on. So that's all we can do, really. Can't change everything, but we can respond to what's going on in our world, in our environment. And, some of the people are saying, I lost my job, but I saved my soul. And that might be what's required, but we will, anybody who's willing to do that hard choice is going to be, they'll be sorted out. They'll figure out a solution and what's going on. So I piss everybody off. Yeah, so does my buddy. But it pisses them off because they're brainwashed. They don't want to hear anything else. And so, but there's a truth, right? There is a right and a wrong, and there is a truth and a deception. And if you've been deceived this long, right, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow. So, we don't have to wake them up or convince them. We just need to speak the truth peacefully. You need to be the example and find other people who are awake, because that's the exciting thing. Everybody there, we can build new systems, new places for nurses, new schools, just whatever within the system. But we're like, we go to a school, we're not part of the government school, we go to a private school, and they'll probably do it for free, you know what I mean, or figure out a way to reimburse the teacher and get everybody taken care of. And then you have some people setting up private nurse and doctor's practices, being like, all right, for most health things. And this is great because people are understanding the difference between germ theory and terrain theory and homeopathic medicine and natural remedies and all the corruption of big pharma. So there's a ton of positivity coming out from this. So we'll see how it goes. My suggestion is to keep it peaceful, to do what you can to support, whether that's just sharing an inspiring video, speaking the truth in your own world, whatever you can do to support, show up in Canada if you can. And we got this. So don't lose hope, don't lose faith. There are millions and millions of people like this, and now we have a more effective strategy. So now we can brainstorm, what else can we do, right? So I like the idea of showing up en masse on your in front of your mayor's house peacefully and just have a party. Like, hey, we've and then serve them notice of liability. Serve everybody. Serve the media. The media doesn't even have. They don't even put CTV or BBC because they'll get heckled. And I just saw it. Everybody is like, tell the truth. That was the chant. Tell the truth. These people are absolute scum. They're the absolute scum of the earth. These people doing this, the media and stuff, because they know what they're doing. They see the truth, and then they film this. They know what they're doing, and they're doing it for money. They've sold their soul. They're absolute scum. So you don't want to focus on that. Let them do their thing, and then be around all those smiling, happy, beautiful faces, that are like, yeah, we got this. We're going to figure out solutions. Don't worry. You know what I mean? Like, I'm your neighbor. We're all Canadian. We're all in this together. There's a bunch of, colored people, black, ethnic people, all the different races with the signs just basically saying, this isn't racist. Trudeau was actually racist. The gaslighting's annoying. Projection's super annoying. It's where they do the thing. They say you're doing the thing that they're doing. I find that so frustrating. It's just the most frustrating one. It's like, no, you're doing this. You're the racist. You know what I mean? So that's like defeating. It's a defeating energy, but the cooperative spirit and knowing the cooperative spirit is so inspiring, and it's so better just to build the solution and let them have at it. You know what I mean? They're gonna, there's no hope. They have the opportunity. The door's always open. You have there with compassion, unconditional love, and tolerance, and also F you. I'm going to speak the truth, and I'm not going to let you gaslight me, and I'm just going to remain peaceful. And this door is open, and we welcome them. The more of us, the better. And if somebody can wake up at this point and admit they're deceived, that's a pretty big person. So that's it. Big love, everybody. Make sure to follow me over on Telegram. I got the Instagram back up, Matthew Belair _ if you guys want to follow me there. I'm going to try to post mostly just podcast stuff because they keep deleting me, but obviously I couldn't help it, so I post all the Convoy stuff, so they probably already got me deleted and censored. But that's the price you got to pay for telling the truth, and I'm okay with that, so I know it's all going to work out eventually. And I got to be able to tell my daughter everything I could to fight for her freedom, to tell the truth, to try to help to spread the word. And it's it's hard, but it's not that hard. You know what I mean? Like, really, just, like emotionally, and like I said, it's a weird one because it is like, your family might get mad at you and people gaslight you and yell at you. I guess it's emotionally tough, but, we got to toughen up, buttercup, you know what I mean? It's like, is it that hard, on the flip side when, children might pass away and be infertile and all this horrible stuff to take a little verbal beating? No, it's more than worth it. So, I got to do what I can. And I know that at the end of the day, God wins, spirit wins, nature wins, and my soul remains intact. That's the only thing that I can do really is, make the choices that are right for me. And is this right or wrong? And how can I help? And, keep my soul morally, and spiritually intact by taking action where I see, the calling, in my own way. And each of us has that opportunity. So, whatever that is, just do that and follow that. So, all right, I'll let you go. I'm going to continue my drive. We'll see you out there. If you guys have any questions, hit it up on Telegram, throw it in the comments, and we'll see you soon. But this is great. Keep sharing. Peace and love, guys.